Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Lower Speeds live class. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I
Good.
unmuted myself.
Good. I know I always forget we start off with everybody muted and I talk and then I wonder why I can't hear anything. So yes. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Did you get my
Well,
text yesterday?
yes. Yes. So were you just nervous?
I don't know. And you know what? I started to do one, and then I was just dropping so much that I thought, okay, I'll try a different one. And I did that one. I wasn't getting it. I don't know if I was nervous or what.
It's
But
probably because you're out of that testing mode. So
I don't know. I'll try
maybe
again today.
okay, or maybe go down a speed just because you want to get back in that mode.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay. That's
yeah,
good advice.
yeah, go down to 80 if you want.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. All right. We'll get started.
Okay.
Here we go. Word, small, found, end, both, I'd, end, someone, same, run, enough, began, sigh, bit, each, those, against, almost, everything, think, most, wouldn't, mom, better, play, I've, own, every, hard, remember, three, stood, live, stand, second, sorry, keep, finally, point, gave, already, actually, probably, himself, big, everyone, guess, lot, step, hey, here, light, quickly, dad, kiss, black, pick, else, soon, shoulder, table. All right. Now I've got some types of trees. Here we go.
Oh, goody.
Yay, I know. Red spruce, California cedar, black locust, mahogany, cottonwood, American elm, red oak, Sitka spruce, shagbark hickory, cypress, silver maple, sweet birch, yellow birch, hemlock, white pine, white fir, flowering dogwood, camphor, black walnut, white ash, sycamore, willow oak, tulip tree, black cherry. All right. Now I've got a basic brief review from theory. We have, very, inform, information. Here are your sentences. Before he would do the test, the doctor made very sure that he had a form signed for informed consent. If I hear any news, I will inform you. Brian informs us on a daily basis. Write for more information. Will you be informing Leah that her mother is not well? We have to have information for the booklet. That is a very good plan for keeping well informed. If you ask me for the information, you will get the information. You should ask for the information. I am informing you now. I was not informed until just recently. Very few of us have the information. All right, now a phrase drill. Here are your phrases. I am, do you, so much, about the, have you, we have, to have, you have, I have, of the. And here are your sentences. I have so much extra material that I could share. I would so much like you to have whatever you have need for. Have you seen the news? We have not heard about the plans. We have to find out about it. We are very unhappy about the proposed route of the new road. So much money will have to be spent. Do you think we should support it? I have some mixed emotions. We have to do something, but I am so much opposed to giving carte blanche to our supervisors. Have you expressed your opinion yet? And then carte blanche just means power. All right. Now, moving into, these are word families that all start with sub. Okay, so I have some briefs for some of these. So here are the words: sublease, suburb, subway, submit, subdivision, subsequent, which I write as SKWENT.
Oh, okay. Skint.
Yeah, squint. But some people do SWENT. So I've seen it both ways. Swint and squint. So, and then if you
SKWENT.
Yeah,
okay.
SWENT. But I do SKWENT. So
gotcha.
You can go either way. And then if you have squint, don't squint. That would just be with an I. So
right.
Yeah. So, and then we have substantial, which is STANL, subdue, subscribe, subject, which is SUBT, substitute, subpoena, initial S, final P. All right, here are your sentences.
Isn't there one for substitute? Is it stute?
It might be. I write it out,
or
but that sounds like it.
Or substitute.
Yeah.
Or something. Okay.
Yeah, that would make sense. Stute. Yeah, definitely. Okay, here are your sentences. Our substitute instructor is Ms. Pratt. The college experienced a substantial increase in enrollment. He borrowed a substantial sum from the bank. Mapledale is a suburb of Oakland. Was the subway train on time? The coach sent in a substitute to play for the injured player. A subpoena is a written legal order. A robbery occurred at the subway station. The sublease was invalid. Kay will sublease her apartment. They will subpoena the witness. Did he submit his resignation? The attorney will submit the gun into evidence. What was the subsequent outcome of the contest? He was hospitalized subsequent to the accident. Do you subscribe to the Wall Street Journal? Craig and Carl subscribe to the weekly star. Tract 10 is a subdivision of the north side of the city. The injection will subdue the patient. The guards attempted to subdue the prisoner. What is the subject of her talk? A complete sentence must have a subject and a verb. All right. Now I have a number. Oh, bless you.
Thank you. Excuse me.
All right. So I'm going to give you some, this emphasizes periods of time. Okay. So we've got 18 weeks, 17 months, 38 years, 6 months, 15 years, 2 weeks, 20 months, 4 years. And here is your paragraph. My family includes 12 people. I have 5 brothers and 2 sisters. My brothers are Timmy, who is 3 years old, Jimmy, who is 7 years old, Mikey, who is 8 years old, Tommy, who is 12 years old, and Greg, who is 15 years old. My sisters are Mia, who is 11 years old, and Sam, who is 14 years old. I am 18 years old. My mother is 40 years old, and my father is 45 years old. I have a grandma who is 65 years old. For some reason, when I was reading that, I was thinking about that family in Paris. Did you hear about that?
Mm-hmm.
They used to live in Marietta. I mean, it's, I can you imagine?
Creepy.
Yeah. And some court reporter will be listening to that.
Yep, know? They sure will. I know. Well, they already started. I think they had their what's the first thing, an arraignment?
Yeah, their arraignment.
You know, they had that last week. And what's so weird is that when the cops came to their door, the woman was she was perplexed as to why they were there.
Yes. I don't get that.
I don't either.
Unless they're just really mentally ill, you just wonder.
They've got to be. They've got to be. Because no normal, sane person would do that to their kids.
What really baffles me are the neighbors. Like the neighbor in Marietta said he used to come. He had the night shift, so he would come home in the middle of the night from work, and he would see the blinds in their house were open and all the lights were on because they slept in the day and they were up at night. But he said he would see the kids marching through the house in a single file line. And then the one neighbor that said they saw them laying sod in the middle of the night, the kids, and it was really cold outside. And I'm thinking, why did somebody not call?
Right?
I don't get that. Like, if you see little kids marching in a house in the middle of the night in a single file line, something's not right.
Yeah, I don't know, though. Put yourself in that position. If you saw that, not knowing that, this took place, would you just think, well, that's weird, and not call anyone? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We had a neighbor that went crazy, and it was really sad. But we had to call one time because he was just acting crazy, and he was a manic bipolar guy. And once his wife left him, he just completely went crazy. Like he was doing crazy things, putting some furniture out on his grass and would spray paint it. And then he started spray painting the driveway, which that's his driveway because he owned the house. But then he started spray painting the street and crazy colors and pictures and of the sun and trees and flowers. But then when it really got bad, he didn't want cars to go over his painted street.
Oh,
And he would
yeah,
stand in the middle of the street, like face down, like to prevent the cars from coming by. So
right.
we had to call, and he would play Snoopy music from morning to night, like really loud. And he literally, so they had to take, it was
That's
really
just so
bad.
sad.
Oh, and then here's the one of the things he did. He bought a brand new car, even though he already had a new car, and it was just him. But he bought this bright green car. It was a really bright green. But then he took a spray can red, and painted big round or like red like dots all over it. I mean, just crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then he told my husband one day he was going to start planting orange trees across the street because there's no houses across our street, but it's like a hill with just ocean. And he said, I'm going to start planting some orange trees, and I want you to water them every day. And my husband said, that's not our property. And he looked at my husband. He said, you will water the trees. And my husband was like, okay, we'll just go along.
Oh, yeah.
That,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, just,
it's a sad, you just kind of wonder what's going on these days. Did you, sorry, I know we're in the middle of class. You and I really do need to get together. But I guess just last Saturday morning, like at 6 a.m, and you can see flowers on the side of the freeway. Some guy just got up and walked right into the 215 southbound lane and got hit by a truck. I mean, the truck couldn't stop.
My husband works with his mom.
Really?
The 31-year-old?
I don't know. I didn't hear much about it. Was
Saturday morning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like right off of Keller, like. So the mom of the guy who died, your husband works with, and they don't know why. I mean, it's almost like he was committing suicide.
And she had no. They don't know yet, but yeah, they have. He wasn't. He was depressed. I mean, he
was depressed.
No, he was not.
Oh,
she didn't think he was. He was living with her, and I'll have to call you after.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so sad.
I know. And she just lost her husband. It wasn't his dad, but she just lost her husband a few months ago. Just natural causes, but I thought that poor lady.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well.
Yeah. So I know all these crazy things.
Yeah. And one more thing that's really crazy. Did you know that The Greatest Showman only got nominated for one Academy Award?
Really?
Kelsey and I are really upset.
Yeah, my mom.
So I'm just trying to bring it lighthearted.
Yeah, my mom said that's the best movie she's ever seen.
It is.
My mom's not like a musical.
Yeah. It's very uplifting. You and I have to go see it.
Yes, I want to go to that new theater in Marietta.
Yeah, you have to go for a matinee though, because if you go at night, you're talking about the one off Cal Oaks.
Yeah, with the reclining chair.
Yeah, it's like $15 admission.
Ooh.
At night, but they're still remodeling, so the popcorn is free. But you want to go, like a matinee.
We got to go then.
Okay, we will. Okay.
All right. So here, our initial consonants SPL. Okay, with parent sentences. Here we go. The ring was splendent. He has to splurge when he has money. They made a splashy appearance. She spluttered an excuse. You can't explore while you splore. I have a splitting headache. Do you vote a split ticket? See a doctor if you have splenic discomfort. The spline on the screen split. He wore a splint after removing the splinters. Splice the splendid, flimsy film. He splurged and bought a splashboard. There was a splotch on his spleen. Split worms do not have split wings. The split tail made a splash. A splash block is needed immediately. He wore a splendid splint after the accident. She splashed and splashed while swimming. All right.
I hate those. I just do, man.
Oh man, I know. It's one of those where they're so good. They're a pain to write to. All right, now we've got final CH, final SH words and sentences. Okay, here we go. Dish, ditch. Bash, batch. Catch, cash. Wash, watch. Mash, match. Hash, hatch. Latch, lash. Witch, wish. Switch, swish. And here are your sentences. All the wishing in the world would not fix the job which he botched. I know that I broke the dish, but it really can be patched to look like new. I wish that she had paid in cash because the bills are mounting up each day. Please take the car in to have it washed, and please have the tire patched too. I wish that you would switch to another station, any other station. Because the latch is broken, you will have to lash the gate shut. The thief stashed the stolen watches in the locker at the station and then left quickly. All the stitching on the sash to my new dress came loose when I washed it. Liam said he would catch more fish than I would on our fishing trip this summer. She wore a blouse and stretch pants with wild patches all over the pants. Both the mashed potatoes and the squash were on the menu for Thanksgiving. Get a swatch of the cloth to use for a sash to match the dress. We are watching the rash very closely to see whether it will get better. Renee ordered scotch and water for them and paid cash to the bartender. I think that the corned beef hash can be stretched to feed all of us. They splashed water everywhere when they were playing catch in the pool. All right, so now we'll move to Tangle Tamers and then move on to literary. All right, here we go. Let's see. That's what I wanted. All right, here we go. Enacted many statutes. Motive is immaterial. Result of feudalism. Laws and regulations. Single most valuable. Brownish blonde hair. Highway delineator. Holding or acquiring. Letter of attorney. Picking a pocket. Immediately surrounding. Deliberate premeditation. divided into degrees, adequacy of consideration, surrounding circumstances, influencing official conduct, constitutes the inducement, and recommended bibliography. All right. I have a narrative answer. I will read this at 80, okay? Here we go. I came down the hall to take a letter to the main office. I did note that the floor had been waxed because I did say to Mr. Mason that the floor looked very nice. He said that he wondered why they had waxed the floor on Tuesday. They usually did it over the weekend. As I turned the corner, my feet just went out from under me. And the next thing I knew, I was on the floor. I knew right away that something was wrong with my arm. I must have fallen on it because it was twisted behind me. My elbow and shoulder hurt, and I had hot pains going all the way up. I just sat on the floor and did not do a thing. I felt shocked and pain. Then Mr. Mason ran over and tried to help me get to my feet. It was hard to get up, and I felt weak all over. All right. I'm going to read another fun poem.
Oh, no.
Oh.
At some point, I'm going to laugh today and snort. I just feel that I've come close a couple of times.
Oh, man. Okay. This is called The Crocodile's Toothache. Here we go. The crocodile went to the dentist and sat down in the chair. And the dentist said, "Now, tell me, sir, why does it hurt? And where?" And the crocodile said, "I'll tell you the truth. I have a terrible ache in my tooth." And he opened his jaws so wide that the dentist, he climbed right inside. And the dentist laughed. "Oh, isn't this fun?" As he pulled the teeth out one by one. And the crocodile cried, "You're hurting me so. Please put down your pliers and let me go." But the dentist just laughed with a ho, ho, ho. And he said, "I still have 12 to go." "Oops, that's the wrong one, I confess. But what's one crocodile's tooth? More or less? Then suddenly the jaws went snap, and the dentist was gone right off the map. And where he went, one could only guess, to north or south or east or west. He left no forwarding address. But what's one dentist, more or less?
I like that one.
That's cute, huh? And then the phrase for more or less is M long ORLS, more or less.
Yeah, I was writing it out.
All right. Now I'm going to give you just a little bit from this the sheriff's report that we've been working on. All right. And this is on the suspect, Raymond Bennett. Okay. I spoke to Bennett at the Phoenix station. I explained to him I was investigating burglaries and a possession of stolen property. I told him I did not know if he was a suspect, but I would read him his rights. I read him his rights from my department issued Miranda card. He answered yes, sir, to waiver question number 1 and yes, sir, to waiver question number 2. He has known Denise and Brian since 7th grade, but hadn't seen them in a while. He was the driver of the Mustang that went to the storage unit. He ran into Denise and her boyfriend, Matthew, yesterday. They decided to hang out today. He met them at her house where he picked Matthew and her up. Matthew asked him to take him to the storage facility because he was going to sell a flat screen TV that was inside. Matthew offered him a few dollars to drive him, and he did. Matthew asked him if he knew where he could sell the TV, and he suggested at a pawn shop. They pulled up to the gate, and Matthew did not know the entry code. Matthew stepped out and called someone on the phone in an attempt to get the code. At that time, the police pulled up behind him and arrested him. He does not know Larry Martinez. He does not know about any stolen vehicles or burglaries and was not involved in them. He did not know Matthew was going there to get stolen property. Witness Karina Brady. Karina is the live-in manager of the Stevens Storage Unit located at 2890 Yates Street. Karina handled the transaction involving Larry Martinez. Karina told me the suspects came to her storage facility on 3/2/14. A large white male driving a newer four-door white pickup truck tried to rent a unit, but he had expired identification. She told him he had to have a valid ID to rent a unit. He went back out to the truck. A few minutes later, a Hispanic male that identified himself with a valid California driver's license as Larry Martinez came inside. She compared the photograph on the ADL to the person standing in front of her and confirmed it was Martinez. She rented him unit 320 for 1 month for $60, and he paid with a $100 bill. She captured an image of his ID on the computer, as she normally does. She thought there were only 2 people in the truck when she guided them to the space, but a third white male later got out of the vehicle. She believes Martinez asked him what his name was, and he answered as Mason Jones. All 3 males were in possession of the property and loaded the items into the storage. She says she thinks she remembers a barbecue grill and a duffel bag, as well as other property in the back of the truck. She believes she could ID the suspects again if she saw them. She supplied me with receipts and paperwork showing his possession of the storage shed. Okay, so we'll stop there.
I was getting in a groove at the end of that.
Good. Very good. And I started at 80 and I worked my way to 100.
There's hope.
Yes, absolutely. Isn't that cool how, like, when you get into a groove and things just start, flowing? I love that.
Yes.
I love that. Okay, I'm going to read some jury charge. The subject is burden of proof. So you're going to hear corporation, KORPGS. Burden of proof, either BRP or burp. Authority, THORT. Preponderance of the evidence. I write that as PP and then for preponderance, and then I just come back for of the and then evidence. But I know there's a brief for it.
Yeah, when I was attending ACI, there was a big list of jury charge briefs, and that's one of them, and I can't remember what it is now.
Yeah. Yep, I know there is one, but I read it as PP for preponderance, and I just come back for of the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to hear preponderating, no cause of action, which is NOBGS. And that's about it for briefs. All right, here we go. The jury are instructed that if you find Michael Boone, the treasurer, had express authority to sign the notes and payments and effect the loan in question, or if you find that these acts were within the apparent scope of his authority or within the scope of the authority which he was accustomed to exercise without objection by these defendants, your verdict should be for the plaintiff. But if you find that borrowing this money in the way testified to and giving this paper was not within the authority expressly given to him or within the apparent scope of the authority which he was accustomed to exercise, then your verdict should be for the defendants. And if you should find that this money borrowed or received for the paper in suit was not for the use of the defendants, and the plaintiff knew or had good cause to know that fact, or if for any other reason the plaintiff did not, in good faith, trust the credit of the defendants, then your verdict should be for the defendants. You are instructed that to charge a corporation upon the act of an officer or agent, it must be shown directly or presumptively either that the act was performed while in the discharge of his ordinary duty in the usual course of business and was within the general scope and apparent sphere of such duty, or that it was expressly authorized, or that it was performed with the knowledge and implied assent of the directors of the corporation or its authorized officer, or was subsequently ratified by them. In this case, the burden of proof rests upon the defendant. He admits receiving the money, and his defense in this case is that he has repaid the same. It therefore follows that the defendant must prove by the preponderance of the evidence that he has paid the indebtedness which he once owed. If you find from the preponderance of the evidence that the defendant has repaid to the plaintiff the $49,780 which he received from the payment in question, then your verdict will be for the defendant, no cause of action. But if on this question you find the evidence evenly balanced or preponderating in plaintiff's favor, then you will find a verdict in plaintiff's favor for the amount you find the defendant is owing on the amount of said payment. Under the evidence in this case, it appears that either all of said check has been paid or no part of it has been paid. So your verdict will be either for the full amount or a verdict of no cause of action. If you find the plaintiff is entitled to recover, then you will add interest at 20% from and after April 1, 2008. If you find the debt has been paid, then your verdict will be a verdict of no cause of action. All right. Did that brief help you? No cause of action?
No, I wrote it out.
Oh, you did? Okay, well, that's okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and do some Q&A. Again, this is that transcript. I'm sure we'll start hearing these words. Chiropractor, either kike or KH, long IK. Psychiatrist, psychiatrist. Psychologist, psych-gist. Hospitalized. Emergency room. I like your ERM. Cosmetologist. I write that as cosgist. Then we have gynecologist, gyn-gist. General practitioner. I think you said G, initial G, final P.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you could do Gen Prac, but I like your GP.
Yeah.
All right.
Hang on, I got to take my Uggs off.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
My feet are starting to get warm. Better. Okay.
All right.
Lay it on me.
All right. This is going to be defense. Here we go. And we'll start at 60 and work our way to 100. Where did you go to get that treatment? My family doctor. And who is that? Dr. Barnes. The spelling of his last name, please. Barnes. Do you know his first name? No. Where was his office located? Altaloma. And where were you taken from this hospital in the desert area to your home? Was that in the Alta Loma area? No. Where was your home at that time? Mount Baldy. At what address? I don't remember the address. Did you reside there before the accident occurred? Yes. And with whom did you reside? My husband, ex-husband. This is William Bueller. William Bueller. Did anyone else reside at that place of residence besides you and Mr. Bueller? No. Did he take you to see Dr. Barnes? Yes. And did you call to make an appointment to see him before? Yes. And do you recall what time of day you saw him or he saw you at this office? Afternoon. Had you seen Dr. Barnes before that day? Yes. When did you first see Dr. Barnes as a physician? Maybe 3 years prior. Was there any particular reason that you saw him 3 years earlier? Periodic illness, flu, and I'm not saying you had the flu, but colds and general health conditions. Yes. Did you see any other doctor during the 3-year period before this accident? No. Does Dr. Barnes have any medical specialty? General practitioner. And from what you indicated, you saw him either the day after the accident or 2 days after the accident? Yes. And when you first saw him, did you tell him what was bothering you? Yes. And what, to the best you can recall, did you tell him was bothering you? Headaches, nausea, back pain, depression, anxiety. And as far as you can best recall, that's virtually verbatim what you told the doctor? To the best. Do you understand what that means, verbatim? No. As far as you recall, is that literally the words you used in talking to the doctor? I can't recall if those were the exact words. No, I can't say for sure. Does that seem to be descriptive of what you said? Yes, yes. And did Dr. Barnes examine you? Yes. Can you briefly describe or generally describe what kind of examination he made? No. When you talked to him on that first visit following the accident, did you feel that you were mentally alert? No. How would you describe your mental condition at that time? Irrational. And when did you first become irrational following the accident? The next day. The accident occurred on April 8, 2009, as I understand it. Yes. And when did you first become aware, or how did you become aware that you were irrational? I realize that's a compound question. Can you give her just one question? Yes. When did you first become aware that you were irrational? Lack of appetite. Is that what you mean? I'm really kind of thinking time of day, where you were, and how you felt it. Those are three different things, counsel. Let's start out. You mentioned lack of appetite. Was that one of the reasons you felt that you were irrational or realized that? One of the things, yes. What other things caused you to believe that you were irrational? Counsel, that assumes that she comprehended that she was irrational at that time. She may not have realized that. I appreciate she is a lay person, just when she thought she was. Maybe it would be more appropriate to ask her what things. Well, go ahead. It's your examination. What abnormal feelings or circumstances did you feel the day after the accident, which may have led you to think you weren't okay? Depression, not wanting to be around people, feeling guilty, feeling fear, not able to handle my workload, not feeling capable to handle my workload. What workload did you feel incapable of handling? My clients. By whom were you employed in April of 2009? Self. What type of business or service were you in? Cosmetologist. And what was your place of business or profession at that time? House of Beauty. Where was that located? 284 North 2nd in Upland. Did anyone else work at that place of business? At that time, yes. And how many people? 2. And who are they? I cannot remember their names. When did you first start to work at the House of Beauty? At that time, I'd had the business 2 years. You've used the term had the business. Were you the owner of the business? Yes. And from whom did you buy the business, if anyone? I don't remember the last name of the party. The first name was Sheila. What was the nature of the business? Hair styling salon. And you purchased the business 2 or 3 years before. And I'm not trying to. When did you purchase the business? Do you mean what year? Yes. I don't recall. Do you recall how long you had owned it at this point in time? Yes, referring to the date of the accident in April of '09. I figure approximately 2 years, maybe 3. Did you have an accountant for the business? Yes. And who was that? His name was Chuck Bouse. Chuck Bouse? Bouse. How do you spell the last name? B-O-U-S. Something like that. B-O-U-S-E. Was he an accountant or bookkeeper? Or do you know what his... He was not an accountant. He wasn't the certified kind. I think he was the other. Where was his business located? Ontario. And on what street? Euclid. Do you recall the address? That's a no. No, sorry. That's all right. How long had he been your bookkeeper? Since we had the business. You then use the term we. Who is we? My ex-husband and I. And that is Mr. Bueller? Yes. Was he also a cosmetologist? No. What was his business? What was his occupation at the time you bought the business? Grocery checker. Where is he located at this time? I don't know. When did you last have contact with Mr. Bueller? Last year. And where did he reside at that time? Where did who reside? Mr. Bueller. Mount Baldy. And do you know where he lived in or on Mount Baldy? On a hill. Any address? I don't recall. Had you lived at that same location when you were married to him? Yes. Do you recall what the address was? No. Do you still own the House of Beauty? Yes. And do you work there at this time? Yes. As a cosmetologist? Yes. And do you have any employees at this time? No. Therefore, you yourself are the House of Beauty, as it were? Yes. And how many hours per week do you work there? It's different every day. Okay, now I'm going to do the 1-page read back. Okay. Let's see. Let me just date this so I know where we left off. Okay. Okay. This is going to be defense as well. Let me give you a word list. You're going to hear sharply, trestle, railroad, approximately, embankment, abreast. You're going to hear reins, whoa. Then for the phrases, you're going to hear, is that right? In order, N-O-R-D. Go ahead. That's G-A-E-D.
I'll probably write that one out.
Okay. Yep, that's okay. That's about it. Okay, let me just mark this. All right. So I'm going to read this once at 60, once at 80, once at 100. Okay. Here we go. Did you have any trouble with your horse after you turned south on the east side of the trestle? Yes, I did. Would you describe what that was? Well, we were riding 3 abreast at that point. The horse started gaining speed. What did you do about it? I tried to stop him. Well, what did you do? I pulled back on the reins and said, "Whoa." How did you pull back? Hard? With both reins. Just as hard as you could. As hard as I could. All right. And the harder I pulled, the faster he ran. I realized he was running away with me. I kept pulling back and saying, "Whoa," but he still wouldn't stop. All right, what happened next? I knew I was coming up to the second trestle. You mean the railroad trestle? Yes. That's half a mile up from the first trestle. Is that right? Yes. Go ahead. In order to get under it, he had to turn to the right and then again to the left. When I got approximately 100 feet from it, I went down an embankment and to the left. I could see the trestle ahead from that point. Okay, so we'll do it again at 80.
Okay.
Here we go. Did you have any trouble with your horse after you turned south on the east side of the trestle? Yes, I did. Would you describe what that was? Well, we were riding 3 abreast at that point. The horse started gaining speed. What did you do about it? I tried to stop him. Well, what did you do? I pulled back on the reins and said, "Whoa." How did you pull back? Hard? With both reins. Just as hard as you could. As hard as I could. All right. And the harder I pulled, the faster he ran. I realized he was running away with me. I kept pulling back and saying, "Whoa," but he still wouldn't stop. All right, what happened next? I knew I was coming up to the second trestle. You mean the railroad trestle? Yes. That's half a mile up from the first trestle. Is that right? Yes. Go ahead. In order to get under it, he had to turn to the right and then again to the left. When I got approximately 100 feet from it, I went down an embankment and to the left. I could see the trestle ahead from that point. All right, last time at 100. Here we go. Did you have any trouble with your horse after you turned south on the east side of the trestle? Yes, I did. Would you describe what that was? Well, we were riding 3 abreast at that point. The horse started gaining speed. What did you do about it? I tried to stop him. Well, what did you do? I pulled back on the reins and said, "Whoa." How did you pull back? Hard? With both reins. Just as hard as you could? As hard as I could. All right. And the harder I pulled, the faster he ran. I realized he was running away with me. I kept pulling back and saying, "Whoa," but he still wouldn't stop. All right, what happened next? I knew I was coming up to the second trestle. You mean the railroad trestle? Yes. That's half a mile up from the first trestle. Is that right? Yes. Go ahead. In order to get under it, he had to turn to the right and then again to the left. When I got approximately 100 feet from it, I went down an embankment and to the left. I could see the trestle ahead from that point.
I'll do 60.
Okay, yep, doesn't matter, whatever one you want to do.
Oh my goodness.
So you just tell me when you find it.
Okay, I've got it.
Okay.
All right. Defense question. Did you have any trouble with your horse after you turned south on the east side of the trestle? Answer: yes, I did. Question: would you describe what that was? Answer: well, we were riding 3 abreast at that point. We were riding 3 abreast. At that point, the horse started gaining speed. Question: what did you do about it? Answer: I tried to stop him. Question: well, what did you do? Answer: I pulled back on the reins and said, "Whoa." Question: How did you pull back? Hard? Answer, with both reins. Question, just as hard as you could? Answer, as hard as I could. Question, um, all right.
Perfect.
Sorry, I couldn't. I'm all, Will. All right. Answer. And the harder I pulled, the faster he ran. I realized he was running away with me. I kept pulling back and saying, whoa, but he still wouldn't stop. Question, all right, I got it that time. What happened next? Answer, I knew I was coming up to the second trestle. Question, you mean the railroad trestle? Answer, yes. Question, that's half a mile up from the first trestle. Is that right? Answer, yes. Question, go ahead. Answer, in order to get under it, he had to turn to the right and then again to the left. When I got is that 100? About, rather? When I got...
Do you have PL?
Oh, approximately, yes. Sorry.
That's
approximately 100 feet from it, I went down an embankment and to the left. I could see the trestle ahead from that point.
Perfect. Awesome job.
You're so nice.
No, it is. You did great. You did great. You're just hard on yourself.
Oh.
So, transcribe a test, but just go down a speed, since you're just getting back into it.
All right.
My eye is watering for some reason. It's probably just allergies.
It's a beautiful day. You should go outside.
I know I have an appointment I got to run to. So,
oh. How's your son doing?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he all healed now?
Yeah, he is.
Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing. I mean, he still has, his back and side still hurts. Sometimes his ribs, but the broken bones. But he's back to work and
wow.
Yeah, it's great. It's amazing, especially when you're young like that. How quickly you can heal. It's incredible.
And when is the baby due?
February 19th.
Oh my gosh, you're going to be a grandma. Can you believe it?
No. You know what I want to learn how to do, Pandora? I want to learn how to, I don't even know if it's knit or crochet, but I want to make a blanket. Like
oh, yeah.
Is that knit or crochet?
It's probably crochet.
Where you take.
Yeah, knitting is with the needles, is with the 2 needles. Crochet is with the crochet hook. And I think the majority of blankets are crocheted. Yeah. Okay. I can't teach you how to crochet. I'm sorry.
I want to learn how. Do you want to learn how? I wonder if they have.
Kind of. I've tried and.
Is it hard?
I don't know. I can teach you how to cross stitch. That's easy. But yeah. Or what's really neat is quilting. That's always fun.
My daughter quilts.
Yeah,
I know. I would love to learn.
Such a neat thing to do.
I would love to learn how to quilt. That would be amazing. I see her. She made me a quilt. She learned.
Really?
Took a class in high school, and that's how she learned.
Oh wow!
And
wow.
Loved it. Yeah, I mean,
good for her.
Elective, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah, I'll have to show you. I'll have to show you one of the. I'll bring it into class or when I see you.
Okay.
pretty good.
or a picture or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the one I have, it's from her high school, when she was in high school. She did a great job, so
Yeah.
she loved it. So, but
Nice.
okay, well, you have a great rest of your day, and I'll call you because I know we got to catch up. So,
Okay.
okay,
Sounds good.
talk to you soon.
All right, Jill. Bye.
Bye.